There's never been a lot of common sense on this planet, but lately it's hit a critical low. If you like this video and want more discussions about common sense, hit those like and subscribe buttons. I will really appreciate it. Thank you. Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty states that an armed attack against one NATO member shall be considered an attack against all members, and triggers an obligation for each member to come to its assistance.
I think we get along good, but, I've always debated, we are always going to be there for them, but will they be there for us? I've always said that, if we ever needed them, because NATO has very much been a one-way street. We actually paid, until I came along, we were paying I think we paid 100% the cost of NATO. They weren't paying, and we were paying. We have hundreds of thousands of soldiers in Germany. We have 50,000 soldiers in other countries. We have a lot of soldiers, not only Europe and other places. And, we want that to be reciprocal. We want to be liked and respected. So I've always said, and we get along very well with NATO, I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And I'm not sure of that. I know that we would have been there, or we would be there. But will they be there? And let's hope that that never happens. We've never needed them. We have never really asked anything of them. They'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little off the front lines. But we've been very good to Europe and to many other countries. And, now under my administration, that began because we had a very successful first term. That began then, but it has to be a two-way street. And it's been a two-way street, much more so. And now it's really been a two-way street.
So what should we expect from the European countries? I mean, they've got this EU anti-coercion instrument.
September 11th, 2001. This is the only time when Article 5 will ever be used. It was used for the United States of America. Canada was one of the first to enlist. But Canada showed its unwavering support for America during Operation Yellow Ribbon, which started while the second plane was on its way to strike the World Trade Center North Tower, when all those airplanes got diverted to Canada because American airspace was shut down.
In our darkest hours, Canada has been with us. On September 11th, as the United States shut down its airspace, Canada instituted Operation Yellow Ribbon, landing 239 U.S.-bound flights with 33,000 passengers at 17 different Canadian airports. And then, amid the uncertainty that followed, entire communities housed and fed those thousands of passengers for days afterward.
America lost 2,461 military lives after 9/11 and during the War on Terror. NATO countries lost a total of 1,073 military lives. Canada alone lost a total of 159 military lives. Remember when Trump said we weren't near the front lines in Afghanistan? Canadians fought shoulder to shoulder with every NATO country, including America. In fact, Canadian military lives were lost when they were attacked by the Afghanis. They were also so close to the front line that they were bombed by an American jet. Watch this clip.
It was one of the worst days for the Canadian military in Afghanistan. September 3rd, 2006, Taliban forces ambush a Canadian unit in Arghandab River Valley, killing 4 soldiers. At least that's always been the story of what happened. Sergeant Shane Stacknick was one of the casualties that morning.
He's not supposed to do this, but he stuck his head out the hatch. And some shrapnel hit him.
Now, nearly 4 years later, a leaked U.S. report that emerged on the WikiLeaks website says the Canadian soldiers who died on that day were in fact killed by a bomb dropped by a U.S. jet.
This is a terrible thing to put on the people that have given so much already. That's just really cruel.
This field report, written by U.S. soldiers, contradicts the Canadian battlefield accounts. It says the fighters took small arms and rocket fire before dropping a bomb, killing the 4 Canadians and injuring 7 more.
Canadian soldiers involved in that day's clashes have said a bomb was dropped from a U.S. warplane. But they say it was after their colleagues were killed and injured in clashes with the Taliban, and that the bomb didn't even go off.
We had a battle group, close to 1,000 soldiers involved in that fight.
Former Chief of Defense Staff Rick Hillier says the lives lost in the deadly attack were definitely not because of friendly fire.
People write things down as a first report that they've received over a radio or received second or third hand. That report can be erroneous, can be wrong.
If the report is wrong, says this military analyst, it calls into question the accuracy of the entire U.S. military reporting system.
We got a problem that goes across the board. If this report then is not only inaccurate, it is mistaken, then they were decisions, and they are decisions being made on false data.
Barry Mellish is convinced his son Frank was killed by the Taliban.
The family of the soldiers that were killed in that day, they're making them relive it all over again, which is not right.
After 4 years, he says the families are still grieving. And regardless of the truth of this latest revelation, it won't bring their sons back. Imtiaz Tayyab, Al Jazeera, Toronto.
The convicted felon who has never served in the military should not be shooting his mouth off. So do the world a favor.
Shut